Bear with me, ladies and gents, just going live now. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for coming through today. It is Tuesday, the 19th of October. It is the prodigious, the prominent Professor Johnson at Proclamation News and Gatherence. Flux with the flow and flux with the show. Just want to say thank you for everyone who are actually coming through, supporting P&G daily. Absolute populism. We're on Castbox, we're on podcast, we're on Anchor as well. Anchor goes on all the media radio stations, so you will hear us probably globally. You know, people will be signing in from all over the globe. So just want to say thank you. I'm a political analyst, critical thinker. My academic integrity is arts and humanities. Arts and humanities, history and politics. I am a bit of an artist myself in the meantime. Bit of a hobby. Art is a hobby. I'm an ex-professional boxer. Nutrition. Nutrition. I've done gym instructor's course as a personal trainer. It's quite a lot throughout humanities. I understand looking after your health, your well-being, and trying to support the democracy as a whole. So everyone coming through. I really appreciate everyone coming through Proclamation News and Gatherence. I just want to welcome everyone to our show. Please sign up. Please share as well. So we've got Judy, Stephen, Joshua, David. Thank you all the listeners coming through. Really appreciate it. Everyone coming through are, critical thinkers, critical listeners as well. It makes you both observed and preserved. Makes you part of the aristocracy social elite. I will be trying to take calls throughout this radio cast. I'm hoping to go for roughly about an hour, but I want to get through all the segments of today. We've got some criminology, people with psychomotor state. I've got some conservative campaigning to do. I don't know what your side of the politics is. Doesn't matter if you're not conservative. Everyone's opinion is valid. Everyone's critical thinking is from their own perspective, their own outlook on life. Some people might come in a Christian, Catholic, might be Muslim. You got your own idea, your own ideology of the world. I cannot change your opinion, your mindset. It's just we are who we are from when we're born. I follow my granddad's footsteps. He's in World War II under Winston Churchill. Plus, I'm a Johnson as well. So that is one of the main reasons why I'm conservative. My traditional values. I was born in postmodernism as well, 1983, Margaret Thatcher. So that's another main reason. Anyway, before we enter the UK roads, I just want to say thank you to everyone coming through, joining Proclamation and Gatherence. Absolute bona fide conservatism, genuine and traditional. Thank you. It's a neoliberalism society here. I try and give everyone, it doesn't matter what, like I say, it doesn't matter where you come from, what your background is, doesn't matter what your sociological difference is, what your social class is. I'm still trying to support everyone as a whole, try and give people guidance throughout life to make that change, to better their well-being, to support their families, to support themselves. You're going to work, you're doing a manual job, it's deteriorating your limbs, your joints. I'm giving people ideas where to go, how to make a change. The adult learning course, how do you, you're in a job, how can you then subsidise your job and try and make that change in the meantime? You can do adult learning courses. Depending on your wage, you might only just cover your bills and you don't want to go and do an adult learning course. Or speak to a work advisor. Speak to, I'll tell you some good organisations. Peabody's to help you with housing. Obviously, you could be having trouble, affording your rent, perhaps. Trying to get into adaptable affording housing to make your lifestyle change. Then you get hold of Shore Trust. Shore Trust have got mainly near all the organisations that you can do your learning. If you want to be a HGV driver, for a woman, you might want to be a beautician. Or maybe you're a beautician already, but that manual work is doing your joints in your hands, arthritis in your fingers from cutting hair. Because it can happen. My mum's had cancer. So, you know, her hands blow up, they swell up. So, yeah, it does that. It can happen to anyone. You always will have the people at work thinking, what's wrong? Nothing matter, nothing wrong with her. But you know yourself when there's something wrong with you. You deteriorate. Your limbs can't take it no more. I was a professional boxer for 5 years. You know, everyone thought, wow, this guy's brave. But although I took the biggest kick in my life when I was 18, I'd fractured skull, fractured cheekbones, busted nose. People don't know what deterioration really means until it sets in themselves. So, yeah, I totally get anyone that's suffering from their job. They want to make that change. That's why I'm sitting here today trying to give out the guidance for others in sufferance, making that change, supporting other people for mental health. Money is what makes the world go round, isn't it? You could be sitting there with all the illnesses in the world with no money, no pip, no support, no nothing, which I wish I haven't. Got bills coming out my ears, but we just have to keep positive. You need to keep that PMA and any life chance. You get these things thrown at you, you get life chance, but you still have problems, bills and whatever else. But you just have to keep positive. Keep positive, keep fighting. When you give up, you're giving up your life. No matter what's thrown at you, you should be able to try and get through it the best you can. Anyway, as we move on to UK roads, they're not going to keep blabbering on about sweet nothings. As we move on to UK roads, think safety, think first. Do not enter the vehicle under sleep deprivation, under the influence of alcoholism or narcotics. Making sure your car is MOT'd, taxed and insured. Make sure you've got a driving licence, funny enough. Check for further police instructions, road safety signs. Check your engine oil and your water coolant tank, make sure it's topped up to maximum level. Make sure you've got sufficient fuel on board and your tyres are topped up to maximum PSI limits. Check your centre mirror and wing mirror before turning. Acting is a safe, sufficient directional choice, making sure cars and motorcycles not overtaken. If you're going that slow, you could have pedestrians walking up past you, overtaking, funny enough. But yeah, you know, just all the safety. Try not to eat at the wheel, try not to smoke at the wheel, and definitely don't be on the phone way at the wheel. In Clacton-on-Sea, we have got a lane closure. Still been closed since the 13th. Road closure to emergency sinkhole repairs in West Avenue, Jackson Road, Station Road since last Wednesday. Still there. We're going to go just off Chelmsford, up the M11. A1184, queuing traffic, conjunction in the construction area. Queuing traffic on A1148 London Road both ways at the gate pub. Congestion at Parsonage Lane southbound about a mile northbound in the constructed temporary traffic lights. Just off of Watford, past North London, A406 queuing traffic on A406 North Circuit both ways at B106 Brownlow Road. South London, just past Croydon. A3 traffic signal approach, traffic signal failure on A3 Clapham High Street at the B221 Bedford Road, Clapham North Station approach with care. Reported today. We're going to go over to West London, Wembley, A437, traffic failure on A347 North Hyde Road at Station Road, approach with care. Let me check, I've got to check the door, stay there 2 seconds, I thought I had to knock the door, may not be. My goodness, it's like a squat team of police outside. Central London, A219, road closed, police incident, queuing traffic congestion. Queuing traffic due to police incident on A219 Wood Lane, both ways from South Africa Road to A40 Westway. Congestion to the A40 West, making its way back to Paddington. 9:44 a.m. first reported. There's about 10 police people outside. I thought, what's going on? They're just driving off, so it ain't me. I thought, what have I done? Anyway, B531, partially blocked vehicle fire, traffic open well, partially blocked due to vehicle fire on B531, Woodburn Road between Harter Road and Polsey Road. Traffic is open well. Road was blocked. Sensors show traffic is now able to pass. 8:47 a.m. First reported. Oh, the police have gone. That's very, very peculiar. I wonder what's going on. So what? Half panic when the police are outside. Although I'm always trying to do good by the police, yeah. When police are nearby, I think, what have I done? What have I actually done? My goodness! But that's just the alertness of humanities. You feel like you got to take full responsibility. The police there, you got to answer the door, you got to answer their commandments. M26 slow traffic. Early accident. All lanes have been reopened. Slow traffic due to early accident on M26 eastbound before junction 2A A20 London Road. Rotham Lane 1 of 2 was closed. All lanes have been reopened at 10:15 a.m. See, that shows my mentality, my professionality with legal authorities. You have to open the door. If they want to come in, they want to search your house, you've got nothing to hide, let them in. Let them in. What have you done wrong? If you're guilty and you're hiding, you've got something to hide. Simple as that. I'd always oblige the police at my door. They can come in. Absolutely, they're doing their job. Heat pump grants worth 5,000 to help replace gas boilers. I don't know if any of you lot are getting stressed about your energy bills right now. I know I am. I don't need the heating on because I'm that stressed of my heating bill. I think my blood's boiling. I'm getting a email every day from my heating company saying, "Oh, this much." When I first started, they said, "Can you pay £40 a month to cover your monthly usage?" Right? And I spoke about 20 different people who said this. Operators on the phone, cover £40 a month, cover your usage. Well, now they're saying my bill was £120 a month. Yeah, okay, so my bill's gone up from 40 to 120. You're talking out your backside, sir. So my maximum bill was £53 in the winter. My maximum bill was £53 in the winter. I spoke to 3 different operators. I've been in this property 18 months. You do 18 times 50, £900. Now they're trying to say my bill was 1,200 quid. Well, I paid 400, mate. I paid 425. That leaves £475 left to pay. If we average it out at £50 a month, because in the summer they're saying my bill, my coverage of my bill is £40. So what is it? Mate? You're talking about your backside or what? They're trying to pull the wool over everyone's eyes. They're trying to rob you blind. If anyone's got their energy bills, they're going to because they're all closing down. All these energy companies are shutting down. Homeowners in England and Wales will be offered subsidies of £5,000 from next April to help them replace old gas boilers with low carbon heat pumps. Up to 25 million UK homes are heated by gas boilers, but the grants will fund just 90,000 pumps over 3 years. The government says it wants no new gas boilers to be sold after 2035, but has not yet been banned them altogether. Experts have criticised the plans as ambitious, but the government says it will boost demand for heat pumps, while homeowners will be encouraged to switch to a heat pump or other low carbon technology. When their current boilers need replacing, there is no requirement to move boilers that are still working. The government emphasised. It's written into the Sun that Prime Minister Boris Johnson said, "Green shirts of the boiler police are not going to kick in your door with their sandals clad feet and seize at carrot point your trusty old combi." Ministers say the subsidies will make heat pumps a comparable price to a new gas boiler. However, the 450 million being allocated for the subsidies over the 3 years have been criticised and insufficient. Experts also point to the need of costly new insulation and other home improvements to help households get the best out of the switch. More resources. Gas is in the news for price increase that are on the horizon, said Dr. David Glue, head of energy efficiency and policy and the Leeds substation. Needing to insulate economics of that doesn't really add up. Mike Childs, head of science at Friends of the Earth, said the number of heat pumps that the grant would cover just isn't very much, and meant the UK would not meet the climate targets. These grants will only incentivise the best of households, he said. Greenpeace, UK's climate campaigner Caroline Jones, said the government needed to provide more money to speed up the switch. A clever signal would have been a phase out of new boilers before 2035, she said. Johnny Marshall, senior economist, the Resolution Foundation, a think tank focusing on poverty, said the UK would struggle to meet its goal of cutting emissions from homes in half by 2035. UK is committed to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions to net zero by 2050. But a group of experts advises the government says Boris Johnson government has credible policy in place to deliver only about a fifth of this cut. It's been worth the bother. Helen lives with her husband and 2 children in Chippenham. When they moved into 1930s semi-detached house, they knew they wanted to undertake home improvements and upgrade the heating system and an extension. It was not cheap, she said, but because we were doing everything else and because it's going to be a forever home, it made sense. Helen chose an air source heat pump alongside it, they had specifically designed insulation upgrade, new radiators and brand new underfloor heating. With a heat pump, the problem is that you have to make sure that your house is well insulated as possible, she explained. We already had a triple glazing. We had insulated walls. We were upgrading lofts to help with the project. Helen and her family used their old renewable heat initiative funding. The RHI money will pay back quarterly over 7 years and will go quite a long way to covering the costs. She said it's been definitely worth the bother, but she admitted that without her own plans to extend and added the bonus of government cash, it might not have happened without an incentive. There are few people who have the cash flow or the passion to do this, she said. Heating buildings accounts for more than a fifth of the UK's overall greenhouse gas emissions, so there is a pressure on the government's heat and building strategy to deliver the effective reductions. Businesses and the energy sector, Kwasi Kwarteng, said the grants to support the adoption of heat pumps available from next April would help bring down the cost of a relatively new technology by 2030. An air source heat pump costs between 6,000 and 18,000 depending on the type installed and the size of the property. What is a heat pump and how much would one cost me? Heat pumps extract warmth from air, the ground or water, a bit like fridge operating in reverse. They are powered by electricity, so if you have low carbon source of electricity, they provide greener heating. One energy firm, Octopus Energy, said it is expected homeowners to pay about $2,500 to the cost of installing a heat pump, roughly equivalent to the cost of a new gas boiler. The government subsidy will cover the rest, but many houses will require an upgrade to their energy efficiency, including installation before installing one. Everything I'm providing here, what do you think? It's saving a lot, isn't it? Saving a lot of it on your energy bills, it's saving a lot on your economic growth. If you want to start saving, it's the best time to start saving. Make that change. I always talk about make that change in every institute possible you could possibly think of. But I'm not getting funding for my, my critical thinking, for my acknowledgement, for my analytic skills. In a total, 3.9 billion funding is being provided, with the most of it invested in decarbonising public buildings, insulating and installing new heating systems in social housing and for those on low incomes, and helping to provide clean heating networks for homes that are suitable for heat pumps. The plan also includes 3.45 billion to decarbonise buildings in England and Wales, including social housing and district heating schemes. 60 million to drive technological innovation to develop clean heating systems that are smaller, easier to install and cheaper to run. This money will come from a previously announced innovation fund. Independent climate think tank, the E3G, said that setting a phase out to date for new fossil fuel boilers was a world-leading achievement, and the pledge to reduce heat pump costs by 2030 was to be welcomed. However, the funding was insufficient to achieve the government's goals on reducing emissions. Programme leader Pedro Gertler said, on energy efficiency alone, public investment announced today falls $2 billion short of what was pledged in a Conservative manifesto by 2050, he said. Ed Miliband, the shadow business secretary, described the strategy as a mirage, ambitious and woefully inadequate, adding that Labour had pledged to spend $6 billion a year on installation and low carbon heating. The Liberal Democrats described the heating plan as a kick in the teeth for families across the country facing soaring energy bills this winter. Yes, we know that, don't we? Some of us, most of us probably know that. It's another piece in the Boris Johnson climate calming jigsaw. First, he slots in a world-leading policy, halting the scale of petrol cars by 2030. Now he lays down another piece. No new gas boilers after 2035. It's another trend-setting initiative that other nations will surely follow. There's a problem though, because by that date, in the middle of the next decade, the Prime Minister has already pledged to cut emissions overall by 78% over 1990 levels. Energy experts say that simply won't happen unless he provides much wider incentives for people to insulate their homes and to buy heat pumps to replace their gas boilers. One group of researchers estimates that to meet his net zero targets, he needs to invest nearly over $10 billion over 3 years. They hope the Chancellor will fill that piece of the jigsaw in his spending review next week. The trouble is Boris Johnson can be there to fill them shoes to make that happen. That's the trouble. He's got, he's probably got a great, fascinating idea, but he needs to be in the Prime Minister driving seat for that to happen. Because if something else takes over, he could go Pete on, as we know. Industry sources welcome the new strategy. The Confederation of the British Industry said it would help members prepare for changes ahead, but its Chief Policy Director, Matthew Fell, called for a clear delivery plan for consumers, businesses and local authorities. Scottish Power's Chief Executive, Keith Anderson, said it will kickstart demand for electric heating, allowing the industry to accelerate the delivery of electrification and quickly bring down upfront costs. My whole house is run by electric efficiency, hot water, my heating, a whole lot. It's all one combined. Before we jump on to the next segment, we're just going to have a quick short break. I've got some. We're going to go to the war. Possibly could be happening in China. This is a little while ago. This is end of September.
China. It sounds unthinkable, but according to many experts, the countdown may be on. China's President Xi Jinping is shaping up to the West like never before. And just last week, a major new military alliance was announced between the US, Australia and the UK to counter Chinese aggression in the Pacific.
The first major initiative of AUKUS will be to deliver a nuclear-powered submarine fleet for Australia.
America and its allies are preparing for a battle we didn't think was possible.
The idea that China would never attack, even never invade, well, I wouldn't count on that.
Xi Jinping is already on a collision course with his own people. From recently outlawing boy bands to enforcing propaganda lessons in primary schools, Xi Jinping is taking control, and he's prepared to fight for it even beyond his homeland. If this unimaginable conflict were to happen, it would begin with an invasion of Taiwan, a tiny nation off its coast, that China has long believed is theirs.
Once they make the decision to do this, they will come full bore, like a crazy man with an axe.
Control of Taiwan would give China a huge new military reach over the Pacific.
That would put Australia in the firing line pretty quickly.
But is Australia putting itself in the firing line by talking too tough to China?
It is very dangerous to frame China as like worse than Darth Vader.
Tonight, we investigate just how close to war we really are.
The question of whether or not to go to war may well end up getting decided for us.
So is resistance futile?
We should not, to borrow a phrase from Game of Thrones, bend the knee to Beijing.
Good evening, I'm Liz Hayes, and this is Under Investigation. Joining me tonight, 5 experts who each bring a lifetime's experience to their views on war with China.
We've got to ask ourselves the question, do you want your children or their children to live in an authoritarian world where democracy is on the ash heap of history and states no longer have freedom of speech, freedom of thought? Or is democracy worth defending?
China has been preparing for war for at least 3 decades. Its whole military modernization has largely been aimed towards having a war over Taiwan.
I think that war with China should be unthinkable and should remain unthinkable, because when we talk about war with China, we're talking about the potential for a level of casualties and destruction that this country has certainly never experienced and would be devastating for people across Asia.
I do think it is very dangerous to frame China as completely evil, only malevolent. Yes, there is a bad China, where China does things that we find unacceptable. But I think it's really important for Australia to accept that there is also a good China. There are things that China does and can do that are for the benefit of the world.
Clinton Fernandez, you would argue that it's time for ordinary Australians to be aware of this.
Absolutely. I think it's very important that this debate occur. I'm glad it's occurring here. War is an extremely serious matter. It will shape the destiny of the world for the next 75 years.
There's no doubt Australia has been engaged in a war of words with China on human rights and more recently the origins of COVID-19.
It remains Australia's firm view that understanding the cause of this pandemic has nothing to do with politics. It's essential for preventing the next one.
And China has bitten back, hitting us with punishing trade sanctions. Tensions and rhetoric are escalating. Earlier this year, a senior Australian security official warned of the beating drums of war coming from China, echoed by Defence Minister Peter Dutton.
I don't think it should be discounted. I think China has been very clear about that goal.
So are we unnecessarily antagonising a superpower and major trading partner? Are we talking ourselves into a war? Or are we bravely standing up to an aggressive China?
Australia has shown the world how one deals with the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party in particular.
Colonel Grant Newsham is a China specialist and former head of intelligence for the US Marine Forces in the Pacific.
Biggest complaint about the Australians is that there's not 10 times as many of them. They were the first ones to stand up and say, no, we're not going to put up with this. Australia's future is, you're going to have to fight for it if you want to keep it. And the idea that China would never attack, even never invade, well, I wouldn't count on that.
The new 888 poker experience. Over $1 million in guaranteed prize pools every week. unique features and special events.
But as
We're going to come back to this shortly, ladies and gents. Thank you ever so much for staying tuned, listening to what's going on in China. There's a bit of a controversial there. I think, you know, with the Wuhan, everyone blaming Wuhan in the media, all the critics. It's stirring things up in China, isn't it, as well, I believe. I don't know. We don't know what's behind the enemy lines at the end of the day. We had Pearl Harbor, you know, history repeating itself. Could be anything. Could be anything, you know. But we do help. China do get a lot of help from England. I know that much. That's not actually English news. I believe that's American anyway. But yes, there might be some controversy going on throughout America. They're trading with China or whatever. I don't know. More than likely between America and China. We're usually brought on the tail end of things, aren't we? Like usual. Hopefully we don't, because they're one of the biggest globalization populations in the world, China. I've got nothing bad to say about the Chinese, because everything I'm wearing, everything I've got, everything I'm using is probably made in China. So Chinese people are actually all right. There's good and bad. As you know, there's good and bad people in every nation. So I'm not going to sit here saying anything fascist and xenophobia. It's not worth it, is it? For Dusha, Khatun, Bakam, the world is one big family. You know, when you look at things theoretically speaking, like the mobile phone use, the clothes you're wearing, the shoes, you know, the nice designer fur coat that you got, where's it come from? Where's it all come from? Where's it made? Yeah, the war in politics is usually to the stupid infidels that spoil it in the media, the critics, the numpties, the incompetent, the incomprehensible, the inappropriate humanities that we live in today. If anyone wants to get involved in politics, you want your opinion, your voice heard, I'm going to give you my upvote. You know, you might not be, you might, as I say, you might not be conservative. So if you please just take what I'm about to say next lightly. But also, I'm trying to influence. If you don't follow a party, trying to influence people to sign up with our government, and my reasons behind it. The generations of the government being in charge for quite a long time, always winning the main vote. You got Maurice Macmillan. You can go back. How, you know, Maurice Macmillan, Howard Wilson. There's so many politicians that go back from generations and generations of conservatives. That's the main reason why I'm conservative. Traditional values. It's like you lot, I don't know if you know, with British Gas or whatever gas company you use, you stick with your one you know best. Same as mobile phone device or Sky TV or BT Vision. Is it BT Vision? Whatever you're used to, you stick with it because you know it. You're used to it. You used to how it works. Exactly why I'm conservative. It's bona fide, it's genuine, and it's conservative, traditional. It's a neoliberalism government. It's a fair trade system. So you know, you want to pay for your membership. You can do it monthly and pay £2 a month. That's what I do, because I could afford the one lump sum, but I like to pay just a couple of pound a month. What your membership gets you helps Conservative win elections. You can choose candidates and vote in leadership elections. So you can choose the people you want to represent you. Take part in their campaign groups, like the Conservative Women's Organisation or Young Conservatives. Meet like-minded people and make a difference to our country. Just put yourself in a perspective, like maybe you want to stay as a politician or an MP. What kind of change would you like to make for the people? That's how you need to look at it if you really want to get involved. I mean, when I applied to become a local councillor, you know, why not? This is what I do daily. It's what I've been doing for about the last 5 years. I know what, you know, I speak on different platforms, what's affecting society. Life chances, mainly. People having life chances. A lot of people involved in the market society not looking further than the nose. Because you can't be a part of the market society all your life, can you? You need something else to fall back on as you get older. So this is why this is not my hobby. This is my livelihood. This is what I do daily. I get up in the morning, I think politics. I go to sleep, I think politics. I live on my own. The war of the world is politics, isn't it? The war of the world It's the law of the world. That's why it's the war of the world. It's the law of the world. You can't argue against the law. You've got to be a righteousness within the law, or be arrested. You can come to conference, join out MPs, councillors and activists in the biggest event of the Conservative calendar. The reason why these people are honourable gentlemen and women is because they've done their academic years in university. They've worked hard to get where they are. Not all politicians have done their academics, by the way. Boris Johnson is one of the most influential speakers there ever has been as a Prime Minister. Some people, might beg to differ on that one, but he is quite funny. You look at his witty ways, his witty charm, how he has people cheering him as he speaks. He comes out with these three line bloopers that put the other politician down. He's very, very quick, witty, on demand, in control of his the way he exfoliates his expression. Absolutely, his hair is complete waff, as he says. Get the latest inside the party with regular membership updates and exclusive members invites. Influence party policy by giving feedback and policy briefs. Connect with local Conservatives. As a member, you become part of the local association, support local campaigns and attend social events with members just like you. You can stand for election, like I was just saying. Members have the opportunity to stand for election as Conservatives, so if you decide that you want to take part in a democracy, you can. I just missed out on becoming elected as a local councillor. First time I've applied. Could be the main reason why. It's not because I didn't have enough cognitive skills, because I can tell you now I've probably got more cognitive skills than any councillor within the Conservative constituent. Not only have I lived a life living through the sociological society of the urban areas, through the poor, really run-down poor societies. Mate, I was living almost on Beirut at one point, where broken families through alcohol and narcotics, and people getting stabbed and whatever. The society I was brought up around, all over, we was in a nice road of that part of society, to be fair. I used to go and play football at the park, and you bump into all these young juvenile kids that come from broken homes, and you see the state of some, why they've been brought up. It's not their fault. It's just life chances. Life chances getting away and bring families down. So I'm not going to sit there and tear people apart or bring names to the show, because it's not what I'm about. I'm just saying, you see the struggle in real life. People that see the struggle and been through it. I've worked through homeless shelter. I've worked in the food bank for the most deprived people in the world, in the country. You see the people that are having a life struggle, life torment. You got Romanians, you got Polish people, you got even English people like been kicked out of their family home. Polish people come over here with no fixed place of abode, no ID. How can you get them ID if they've got no universal credit? They need to get on universal credit to live. So they go to these homeless shelters, no ID, no fixed place of abode, because they can't use a homeless shelter as a fixed place of abode for legal reasons. And they can't use their place back home in Poland because they're over here. They're trying to immigrate over here, aren't they? They can't even do but feel sorry for them. I was taking them to sit-ins advice, taking them to the job centre. These guys want to get on universal credit. How can we get them ID so they can get the universal credit? You need 2 forms of ID to get on universal credit. I feel sorry for them. I feel really sorry for them. I was trying to do everything I can. There's many things that we need to try and negotiate to sort out in this country. They've obviously got they've obviously immigrated over here. Most of them legally as well, but they've just got no fixed place of abode because they've been kicked out of their old apartment or whatever. I don't know I don't actually know the ins and outs of why. But how can we get them ID? Even English people that have been kicked out of their mother and father's home, had all their paperwork destroyed. They've got no birth certificate or nothing, no ID at all. How do they get their help that they need? Because sitting advice can't give you that answer, and job centre can't fund it. So where'd you go? Do you have to pay it for yourself? Because I didn't have no money at the time. I'm still struggling now financially to help some now, as much as I love to. How can we get them their money? How can we get them their ID to get the money to buy the ID? apart from sitting outside shops scrounging off people. It's got to be an alternative. The original factory shop to provide over 100 Kickstart placements in a bid to support young people. The scheme will help support local young people looking for work whilst helping the community economics recovery. The Kickstart, it's called Kickstart Scheme, ladies and gents. The Kickstart Scheme. Another good thing is to sign up to agencies. The original factory shop has been approved as one of the government's official Kickstart employers to provide 107 work placements for young people. This will form part of the company's commitment to supporting skills and training for young, unemployed 16 to 24-year-olds and will help support the economic recovery of local communities and help combat rising unemployment in this age group during the pandemic. When asked about the scheme, Joanne Robinson, the original factory shop People's Director, said, "We are delighted to have signed up the government Kickstart scheme aimed at 16 to 24-year-olds on universal credit. We have created 107 new roles across the estate. These jobs will be for 25 hours per week for a period of up to 6 months to enable them to gain valuable skills for the future. This is a way of giving back to our local communities, supporting young people at the start of their careers. As an approved supplier, the original factory shop has met all necessary requirements to begin the recruitment of Kickstart candidates through dedicated work coaches at the job centre. Kickstarters will be working in roles across a number of areas." There you go. I mean, they're trying to get people out of work. We all need to get back out. I'd like to do something remote from home because I'm a house husband and a wife to myself. I need to keep my house in some shape and form, you know. I've got all the equipment here to be, I can work for an insurance company perhaps and work remote from home, making calls to people to try and sign up to our insurance company. Langdon murder trial, James Gibson, seen carrying metal pole before being stabbed to death. The court heard. A 16-year-old boy denies murder. I think we was reading this yesterday. A man who was stabbed to death by a teenager was carrying a metal pole before the confrontation, the court heard. The trial into the murder of James Gibson in Iris Mews, Langdon, no, he didn't read this, on May the 2nd this year continued at Chelmsford Crown Court with another teenager present at the time giving evidence. Mr. Gibson, 34, was just yards away from his home when the 14-year-old boy stabbed him. The teenager, who cannot be named for legal reason, who denies murder and claims his actions were self-defence. The teenage girl was present at the time of the incident, told the jury she has seen Mr. Gibbons with a metal pole and she was walking away from the alley where he was stabbed. Simon Taylor, prosecuting, asked the girl, "Casting your mind back to the scene, you remember seeing Mr. Gibson with a pole?" The girl replied, "Only when I took a look back. When I was walking off," Mr. Taylor said, "You put the time of your observation being around 10 seconds, the girl said. "It happened so quickly, I didn't think nothing happened. I thought it was just a fight." Mr. Taylor, can you please describe what was in James Gibson's hand? He says. The girl replied, "The boy went to punch him and saw James and he had a pole, that's it. It was just sort of shining because it was dark." Jury was previously told Mr. Gibson had been holding a barbecue for his twin daughter's birthday and had confronted a group of teens for arresting a homeless man who had been given food to. The girl had previously told the police in an interview that the 16-year-old boy had called her and her friend and referred to himself as a psychopath after the incident happened. Representing a teenager, Christine Angu QC said, he said that he was a psychopath. I'm going to suggest that he never used the word psychopath. The girl responded, "That's what I remember." Miss Angu said, "There was a conversation about what happened, but he never said, 'I'm a psychopath. I don't care.'" There you go. People with mental rehabilitations, people with a psychomotor state, like a Ferrari, can turn to 0 to 100 in about 10 seconds. How are these people even walking throughout humanities? I don't know. You can get put in a mental home for literally nothing. You can get put in a mental home for nothing. Yeah, you got these people that carry knives. They carry knives, but they're in a psychomotor state to live throughout the humanities. They're in a psychomotor state to live throughout the humanities. I mean, who are these people to judge putting others in these mental homes when you've got nutters like this walking about society? Really, so it's like the MP that's just got stabbed. And when are they going to put a ban to knives being in shop floors, being in people's households? When will it stop? When will knife crime stop? Until all of us say, right, we need to start handing our knives in. We need to make this an example. Everyone hands their sharp knives, kitchen knives a lot. Your children can't get hold of them. You know, our children might be brought up in a sensible mannerism, but if we start doing it, maybe the broken families that don't really feel like educating their children will start doing it as well. The children that smoke cannabis and come home and be rude to their parents, have no care and respect for the world. Maybe if we start doing it, the rest will follow. We need to make an example. We need to make a petition. We need to make a petition inside Proclamation, News and Gatherence. There's enough people that come in here, listen daily. I'm not only on a cast box, I'm on podcast as well. You know, it goes on Anchor, it goes in all the FM channels globally. So, you know, it might be worth us getting involved, and we can share this petition. Put it under Proclamation, News and Gatherence. Should we all do it? Who's up for that? The listeners. Would you like to comment in the comments? Should we make this petition? Stop this knife crime. We're reading it every day. Someone's been stabbed. Someone's been stabbed. Dangerous driving as well, but we can't change dangerous driving unless how can you stop who gets at the wall of the car? Someone sleep deprivation, someone influence alcoholism, narcotics. Someone not paying attention to always on a mobile phone. How can we put a stop to that? That's impossible. But knife crime, we can make a change. We can make a change. With us listeners, we can make a difference. I'm a critical thinker in many, many situations. As a counsellor, do you know what I've done? Which I should have a job. I use my cognitive skills. I've got many years of construction experience. I called Essex Highways to try and fix a drain. That's not a drain. It's like it's an electricity lamppost. They've got the ducts in the road. They've got a manhole cover. It's absolutely obliterated in half. An old lady could fall down there, break her leg, maybe break her neck or her hip or anything. Old lady, old man. So I called Essex Highways to fix it. 4 days before my interview. 4 days before, 2 days after my interview, they said it's going to give me the results on the Friday. I sent the email, my reference, to say Mr. Johnson's phoned up to get that fixed. It's cancer's job. I still didn't get a job at the Conservative Club. How devastated I was. I've got all the cognitive skills to sit here, speak to an audience. I've got all the cognitive skills to work in an office, to build my own website, to send formal emails. Yeah, I didn't get a job. I was devastated. Who could have got the job instead of me? There's only one other person. And what are the chances he had as much cognitive skills as me? I very much doubt it. Very, very, very much doubt it. I come eloquent style and pragmatic sense. I'll speak with a fluent tone of English. You know, I mean, at a high standard level of English as well. Understand criminology, family law. You know, what more skills do you need in life to get that job as a counsellor? Maybe I had too many skills and it's a bit scared to take me on because I probably come across a bit more professional than they did. They're getting a bit worried about their job. Anyway, ladies and gents, Proclamation, News and Gatherence. Make sure you subscribe and get involved. Get involved. How would you like to get involved and shape up Britain? What could you bring to the table to help shape up UK? What's affecting you? Not enough medical staff. Children being bullied at work. There's not a protocol. Step by step. Change how you can get your child to stop being bullied at school. I need to give this out to all teachers. If you need that bereavement to a parent to know that your child's going to be responsibly looked after by the school. If your child's getting bullied, you expect your teacher to make adaptations so your child stops getting bullied. Takes your child to safety, or takes the naughty kid out of the lesson, sticks him in another class. You know, if the teacher can't make the adaptations, get hold of the head teacher. If the head teacher don't make the adaptations, you either go to the police, you know. But if the head teacher don't make a change and the police can't do nothing, you go to the head teacher's office, say, I want a letter. I want a letter to say I'm bringing my child out of school because you can't stop my child being bullied. I don't want my child to then take his own life. So I want you to write a letter saying I'm bringing my child out of school to find him a new school or one-to-one tutor so my child doesn't get bullied or subject to be bullied at school. It's that, you know, if that's you, the parent, to look after children, if the adults at school can't look after children, then my goodness, what can you do? Anyway, ladies and gents, I just want to say, take care, God bless, have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. Just trying to sign out. Thank you ever so much. Make sure you're on YouTube as well. You Castbox listeners, if you want to listen it back on YouTube, you see a visual of me sitting in my little office. I've got a nice little picture on my back of my wall. It's London Bridge, Parliament, Big Ben. It's quite a nice visual as you're looking at my ugly face on a screen. So anyway, take care, God bless, speak soon, and one love. Have a wonderful day, peeps.